Hello, my name is Navigator, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at my New Orleans collectible haul. Now, I called it that because, of course I was looking for toys and figures, but in New Orleans, right in the heart of New Orleans, right by the French Quarter, you're not really going to find a lot of Walmarts, Targets, comic book stores, stuff like that. It's more collectibles, antiques, weird little knickknacks, stuff like that, and that is kind of what I have today. So I have a mix. I have things from New Orleans, some things that I picked up today, actually really just one right there, and then some things from eBay that came in over the weekend while I was in New Orleans. So we're just going to go in order here of what's closest to me. And we'll start off here with a hand grenade cup. And this is, of course, a famous drink from Bourbon Street in New Orleans, kind of like a lemon lime slushy alcoholic drink, but I really just kind of wanted it for this container. I thought it was really cool and a nice little souvenir to have. So I have paper towels in there because I literally just got back today. It's still wet from when I drank out of this last night, but I'll clean this out. But I just wanted to show that off really quickly. And then yeah, I think that's the only really like random thing. I'll start off here with some stuff that I got from I think it's the Confederate Civil War Museum in New Orleans, Louisiana, and it was really cool. They had some really great antiques. It's apparently the oldest museum in New Orleans, which I would believe. And yeah, I got some really awesome stuff. They had a bunch of relics and not really replicas, I would say, but yeah, relics and information and uniforms, flags, so on and so forth from Confederate and just overall Civil War units and figures. And it was really cool. I'm very fortunate to have gone. And hold on, Eddie's stepping on the ring rope here. It's going to bother me. I'm going to fix that quick. But let's go over what I got from there. So the first thing I grabbed, not because I plan to wear it, but because Jonah Hex wears it. It's actually a Confederate States waistband belt buckle. Pretty typical belt buckle. I actually do wear belt buckles with all my pants. I have one belt really, and it has a belt buckle on there. So theoretically, I could wear this. And I was actually thinking about doing a Jonah Hex cosplay. I don't really know I know that you guys don't know what I look like, but I think I could pull it off. I could do the scarring and do all that. And this would be a nice little piece to kind of add it all up. But I'm going to actually pose this for the time being with my Jonah Hex prototype that I have. So that is really cool. And I'll open that on my own time. The other stuff that we have here, I have a nice little kind of map, or I guess guide of like certain unit flags for the Rebel Army, or the Confederate Army, I should say. The flags of the Confederacy, as it says on there. I guess it's the appropriate way. And then I also kept my bag from when I went. I thought it was kind of cool. There's some information there if you guys were interested in visiting this museum, so that was really cool. All right. Also, the owner, the employee at the museum, I'm not sure who it was actually generous enough to give me this Citizen Bank of Louisiana banknote, and gave me a little bit of information. Apparently, the reason why they call the South the Dixie is because this in French is D, but we say it like Dix. And I know that's funny, whatever, but I'm not trying to be like that. But apparently, somehow, that is where the term Dixie comes from when you're referring to the South. You're going to go down to Dixie, something like that. I got to do more research on it, but it is really cool. And I'm actually a history teacher, if you guys don't know, so I'm going to bring this in and show this to my students. I think they'll get a kick out of that. That'll be really cool. All right, some other stuff that I grabbed there. We have a signal whistle. This stuff is going to go on the sharp shelf. If you guys don't know, I have a little shelf, dedicated to sharp and kind of like Napoleonic and war stuff, and these are going to go on there. So I know they're Civil War, but still, they're battlefield tools nonetheless. We have a signal whistle here. So whistles were a common means of signaling and giving commands to troops. This one is made of wood and has a leather strap. So I'll be unboxing that and just throwing this alongside Major Sharp, the figure I have over there on the other little shrine. I'm sure that either British or French units used some kind of thing like this during the Napoleonic Wars. So I have to do more research, but I thought it would be a cool little addition, and it was cheap. And then on top of that, I found this really cool ammo pack, like black powder candy. And what I'm going to end up doing is kind of like gutting this and making like replica, black powder stuff. And I thought this little cartridge container here would be perfect for it. I'll take the logo off of there and then have it over with my sharp shelf, kind of like a Baker rifle survival kit almost. But we do have that. And that's really cool. Again, that's candy, though. It's not actual ammunition or anything. All right, just kind of going randomly here, some other stuff. I stopped by the Vampire Boutique in the French Quarter, and there's some information there on where I got this from. This is a wooden stake for a vampire. And as you guys know, a while ago, I actually made a custom one of these and got it signed for when I went and met Gangrel, the wrestler. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I can have a genuine one this time. And I'm a big fan of supernatural and, kind of monster hunter stuffs. And I like props and weapons, so I thought this would be really cool. A genuine, heck, this is from the Boutique du Vampire in probably the creepiest place in the United States. So I think this will probably be pretty decent. All right, we do have that. What else do we got? A couple other things here. We stopped by the Ogden Museum of Art. I think it was the Ogden Museum of some variety of art, but I thought this was really cool. It's a whistle that kind of works, but it's made to look like a cigar. And it was only $20. I thought it was really cool. A little piece of art. You have a little signature on there, Carl Roberts. But I love stuff like this, little props. And this is a piece of art. This would be considered a piece of art, I guess you could say. So I wanted to pick that up as a nice little souvenir from my trip there. But it's so cool. I love this. It's like a little prop cigar, and the whistle there almost makes it like a nice holder. So if I ever do a cosplay, maybe Jonah Hex or maybe Hellboy or something, I could maybe be able to use this. But I got to be careful with it because, like I said, someone did make this. It is technically a piece of art. So we do have that, and that's really cool. All right, what else do we have here? This is the eBay stuff, so we'll leave that for last. I'll get this out of the way because I'm going to do a review of it that should be uploaded alongside this video, but this is going to be the Knuckle Crunchers Drew McIntyre. I don't review a ton of Knuckle Crunchers anymore. That was kind of my big thing over the summer, but there is a new wave of them coming out, including CM Punk, and I'm definitely going to be getting all of those, and I wanted to have Drew McIntyre because he actually comes with, I think, the first available, maybe not the first available, but one of the first available Knuckle Cruncher WWE Championships, and I've wanted that for my Knuckle Cruncher collection. And then on top of that, he comes with a sword. So that looks awesome. And this picture right here sold me on it. I'm totally going to pose him up and all that, and it is going to be incredible. So there we go. I plan on getting that Undertaker as well. I already have the Cena. So we have that. All right, the other pro wrestling thing that I got to do in Louisiana is I actually stopped by Wildcat Sports and Entertainment. You can see it, the logo there kind of printed onto this trophy. And I'm just going to call it a trophy. I wish I remembered. But this trophy is some kind of like Money in the Bank, Call Your Shot, championship-esque thing for the Wildcat Sports and Entertainment wrestling promotion that is located in Louisiana. I'll say New Orleans, but it really seems like they're like the premier southern. Sorry, it's not focusing here, and I'm not sure why. I'm gonna have to tap it, and I don't like that because then it gets stuck there. But whatever. But this was really cool. The reason I went there is I was actually able to meet one of the wrestlers there, Mickey Drama. I'm a big fan. I kind of want to go down there and meet him. He was really cool, and I actually got him to sign the bottom of this. So like I said, it's going to get stuck with the focus there, but you can see just in pen, it was all I had available. I got a little signature there, and he's not somebody that, like, if I drop that name, you guys would know off the top of your head, but definitely check him out. Excuse me, I had a little frog in my throat. Mickey Drama, he's a great wrestler from Louisiana. I would totally recommend that. But yeah, shout out to Wildcat Pro Wrestling. I flew there, so I couldn't really bring back a ton of loot, but I wanted to have something. I thought this was the perfect little thing, and I got an autograph. So I went to a wrestling show in Louisiana. There we go, and there's proof. All right, two other things here. I stopped by the Sazerac House or the Sazerac Museum, and I got just this little poker chip for like $2 as a nice little souvenir. I'm a big fan of the Sazerac cocktail, and I just love the history of it. So if you guys are ever in New Orleans, be sure to check out that museum. And then my girlfriend actually got me this little St. Michael the Archangel, what do you call it? Not pendant, but charm, I guess you could say. I'm not super crazy religious, you guys don't hear me talking about that, but I'm a big fan of St. Michael. He's kind of my childhood saint, my confirmation saint, so that was really nice of her, and I, of course, love my girlfriend. Hopefully I can have her here on the channel someday, kind of like Kyle Peterson does with his wife, but that is all the New Orleans stuff. What I want to end with here is a new collection that I'm going to be getting into, and this is actually going to be another version or another series from G.I. Joe, that being Sergeant Savage. And I'm not sure if I talked about it in my recent videos, but I have a whole new free shelf, and I'm excited to use it. And what I want to do there is kind of make like a 3 3/4 World War II display, and I'm going to be having the Sergeant Savage figures as the focal center of that. So a bunch of stuff from eBay. I do already have 2 Sergeant Savage figures that I just picked up. They were like $5. I picked up odds and ends over the years, and I've now kind of taken those out and actually been playing with them. Well, not playing with them, posing them, I guess you could say. But to start off with, we do have from one of my hauls that I got here, one of my lots here, this little Sergeant Savage comic, and it's actually done by Joe Kubert, who is a pretty prominent comic book artist, but that is really cool. And I love on the back here, it says, "We beat him, Sarge. We sent him packing. We haven't seen the last of General Blitz and his Iron Army. They'll be back." I love that. Such a cool little tagline. But the whole thing with Sergeant Savage is it's Sergeant Savage, Dynamite, and D-Day. That is his little squad. And it's a very small toy line from G.I. Joe from, I think, the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, probably late 90s. And they had, like, a Jeep, a tank, and then, like, a plane. And a couple of these little other play sets with, like, enemy soldiers. And then, like I said, those 3 main guys, Dynamite, Sergeant Savage, and D-Day. And they had their different variations. But what I want to do is hopefully get all the vehicles and and all the figures from this line. So we're starting off here with the Allies and a little battle set here. So let's see what we've got in this little package here. I think this is D-Day right here. And yes, that is, so I'll toss it to the side. But here's D-Day. And I wish that I could get it to focus, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers. This thing is always a pain in the butt. You guys know. You know it's always a pain. But here's D-Day here. Got some accessories there. I'm not going to take them out just yet. Hopefully I can show off the entire collection when I make it whole. But there's D-Day there with a bunch of accessories. I love that Tommy gun there. That is really cool. But he is nice. Kind of just like the basic soldier guy, I guess you could say. And then who do we have here? Let's find out. Let's see. This might be Dynamite? Maybe? Oh, no. This actually might be Sergeant Savage. Let's see. And I've got this lot with all three of them, including... Oh, no. This is Dynamite. This one's actually the coolest one. I think Dynamite looks awesome. But yeah, here's Dynamite. So he's kind of like more like a Latino kind of guy with that little bandolero mustache, which looks really awesome. He's got a red shirt under there. Kind of the leather glove on, which looks awesome. And this Browning machine gun and pistol, which is just super cool. He's got a bandana on as well. The helmet does come off. You might be able to take it off. There you go. You can get a good view of his face there. But just so cool. The small squad is just such a sell for me. And these figures, they're a little bit bigger than those retro G.I. Joes. And they really have some awesome accessories. So they're definitely worth getting into. And then finally here we have Sergeant Savage. So I have one where he's in like a t-shirt. The Desert Sergeant Savage, and then this one I think is just the like basic traditional Sergeant Savage. So here we go. Oh, Combat Sergeant Savage. Yeah, this one is really cool. So I love he's got the Sergeant tattoo on there. He's got the bandage on his other arm. And then he kind of has like the flak jacket there with the grenades and everything. And that is really cool. And what I love about Sergeant Savage, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, and I got to do more research on him, but I think what it is that Sergeant Savage, and here, I'll make it so you guys can see everything out there. Sergeant Savage and his men, kind of like Captain America, were like frozen in time. And the whole gimmick of it is like it's these World War II guys that are coming back to face this like Fourth Reich kind of like, I hate to say this, but neo-Nazi, kind of like new Nazi enemy, and I just thought that was super cool. So it's like modern day, or at least for the time, modern day villains versus like World War II heroes. That's such a big sell for me. I love that. All right, the next thing here is going to be one of the battle packs, and they had one for the heroes, or for Sergeant Savage, and for the Iron Army. This one here though is actually going to be a motorcycle for Dynamite. So we have that, and you see what I'm saying? Like, this is not a World War II motorcycle. This is definitely like a 90s, at the very least, or, I don't know, most 80s motorcycle, crotch rocket kind of thing, and that is really cool. And that's for Dynamite. And then, oh no, I do have the Allied one. Okay, awesome. So, because there's like an enemy one, and then like a friendly one, and they have different weapons, and I wanted to make sure that I got the Browning, and I'll assemble all this later, but this is really cool. So, you have like a little play set here. It's kind of like a little dugout, and there's barbed wire and everything, and you might be able to like take that off. And then you can actually mount these weapons in here. And there's a little net, and here, I'll just show that off briefly. You can probably just lay it over some little area here. But you can plug in this Browning here, and then I think you can move this back and forth, and it will like spin the gun back and forth like it's like a little play feature. And then I have another thing here, which I think plugs in there. And then that's like a mortar encampment. So this is really cool. A nice little playset for these guys. And I'll just show you in a second here. I don't think there's anything else. Oh, some more barbed wire. We do have that, but that is it. And I'll just show you the shelf that I'm talking about. So it's right over here. And I have the Thunderbolts just kind of posed there. I want to take a picture. But I already have two of those Sergeant Savage figures. This tank from the Corps that I'm going to strip the things off of and put some like World War II-esque stuff on there. But it's the perfect scale for these figures. And what I want to do is I already have some grass mats. I'm going to lay a grass mat here and then just have it be like a battlefield. A 3 3/4 inch battlefield. And like I said, another big sell for me with the whole World War II guys in the modern era is I can add more 3 3/4 inch figures there if I wanted to kind of maybe spice it up, do whatever. But here we have it, folks. I'm starting to build my Sergeant Savage collection, and that is going to be it for this New Orleans collectible haul / eBay haul. But we'll leave it there, folks. As always, my name is Navigator. Have a nice day. Take care.